Got it. Good evening. I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So today is September 26, 2022. This is the weekly meeting of the Hampton Board of Selectmen. This meeting is being broadcast over Zoom. Is there anyone else recording the meeting other than us? Smart. Okay, first thing on the agenda, Pam, you have 20-30 minutes for us to review. We'll go with one. Okay, we have the minutes of August 8th.
I don't see anything here. One highway superintendent. Motion to approve one-day permits. I move approval of the minutes for August 8th, 2022.
I got one more page.
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we would like to discuss, we'd like to meet with Action Ambulance. I see we have a couple gentlemen online.
We have Chris Hogan, the Chief Operating Officer, and Jim Scolforo, the Vice President of Operations.
Hi, good evening, folks.
Good evening.
Welcome, and first I'd like to thank you for coming in right away to meet with Bob to provide a good recap of the fact that Action will be continuing service, obviously, with all the changes going on, and there will be no interruption to the quality of service that you provide to our town.
Yes, sir, that's certainly what the plan is. As probably you all know, there'll be the Holyoke, City of Holyoke contract will be transferring over to another company at the end of this week. But our intention is to remain a strong presence in the area. We have similar to your contract. We have contracts with the town of Hadley and then Brimfield, Holland and Wales in your area as well. So it's our intention to leave more than enough assets in place to provide coverage for your town, those towns, and backup coverage as well.
I know there have been some, I don't want to say issues, but some periods recently where coverage has been BLS instead of ALS. Is that something that's being addressed?
Certainly, our contract with you is an ALS contract, and as things kind of shake out, it's while we've lost a lot of people, you know, to go to the other service, we've also retained quite a few. And as we're able that we've been plugging people into the Hampden ambulance shifts as we go along. And by the end of this week, we hope to have everything resolved so that you'll have, you know, ALS coverage on a more permanent basis. Okay.
Don and Craig?
Are you're basically going to be in Springfield on Page Boulevard now?
That's correct. We've it's a pretty large base that we have in Springfield. Our intention is to staff a minimum of 3 additional ambulances down there to continue to do some work in the area in Springfield and as well as, again, service to back up our contracts such as yours.
So if our ALS is out, you'll send the backup like you're doing now.
That is correct.
And that backup will be in the service range, I believe, right? Per the contract, it'll stay close, but not in the town.
Well, we can certainly at this point get it probably right into Hampton.
Okay. And
At the very least, we'll be able to make the response time parameters in the contract.
now, who's going to be handling the reporting? Is that going to be you guys or somebody else now that's going to be doing that for us?
No, it'll continue to be us. The reports come out of our the gentleman's name is Jason LaFave. He's our data analyst that works out of the Wilmington main office. he generates those reports that come out to you folks. And that will continue.
Was he the one doing it before, or was he going to be taking on this role?
He was doing it before, but I think he was feeding the reports through the former 2 leaders that were out in the area. And they were supposed to be forwarding it to you folks. However, they'll be coming directly from him this point forward.
We are receiving a daily email reports that basically say no, for the most part, no response time above 10 minutes has happened. And I receive them. I think Donna Hatch, a member of the advisory committee, receives them. And so we monitor that every day.
Okay, were they also supposed to go? I know we had some discussion whether they go to the police chief or the fire chief as well, right?
Yeah, well, the amended contract says it should be going to the fire chief,
In the previous one was police, so
police chief.
one way or the other, they should be going to
Right.
one or the other.
Right.
Have they been or have they not been?
I'll have to check with Jason where they actually go, but I'll be sure that the fire chief is on that list right away.
Is it
Would be
also
going
possible, and I won't speak for the other selectmen, but any way that, we can get on the list as well when they come out?
Certainly. I can send them to the selectmen as well, or do you want me to send them to Pam? What's easiest?
I think Pam is fine. If she puts them in the OneDrive, we can access them, Craig.
Yeah, as long as
We don't need to
we know
worry
they're
about
coming
it.
in, that'd be great.
Not a problem.
And maybe if it's a PDF, then you can send the prior ones. That's fine too. We'll just store them up there. Because one of the things we got to be talking about, Chris, is that, we're coming up into our 3rd contract year now. And obviously there's a question about renewal, et cetera. And prior practice is, of course, one of the things we're going to look at to make sure that we're providing the proper value for the citizens of Hamden. So the more information that we have, it makes a stronger case for us to present.
Absolutely.
Did hear from Bob a couple of weeks ago that there was going to be an opportunity for a rebate, I believe, in what the
That's what
2022.
the company president, Mike Waronka, said to me at a meeting in the office.
Mhm.
So
I don't have the details for that, but I'll certainly run it through Mike and our chief financial officer tomorrow and get an answer for you folks right away.
That'd be
And-
great.
And that's predicated on the 2nd fiscal year, Bob?
yes,
Correct? Okay.
the first 15 months were used for the first year.
Mhm.
And we did not get a rebate that year, but now we're into the 2nd year. And we should have the information, I guess.
We're actually into the 3rd year,
Right.
but
We're into
so
the 3rd.
we should know the second year too already.
Year 2, yes,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying, yeah,
Be close to recapping
Yeah.
year 2, you would think at this
Yes.
point, yeah.
correct.
or sooner.
When does the next meeting? The committee meets quarterly, Donna?
Quarterly.
Or is it quarterly?
Quarterly.
So it's October next or? Could be?
Yep.
Okay. More questions?
Good, good.
Fire chief has joined us. Do you have any questions for action, chief? And a blindside you there, Ed, sorry. Okay.
So,
Oh, there's Jim. Of course.
Do you mind coming up to a microphone, Jim? Just gotta push the button on the front.
Hey, you
Jim,
get the,
Jim,
you have to push.
yeah, push
to
the
get
button.
it
there's a
light-
button there.
Make it light up.
No, you gotta push the button.
button.
Well,
There you
there you go.
There you go.
Do it
Technically
again.
challenged.
Do it again. Don't reintroduce yourself.
And for the benefit of the people at Action, my name is James Smith. I'm a resident of the town. I came in at the last meeting. I had actually asked at the annual town meeting whether we had received a reimbursement for the prior year. And I was told no, that the first year we did not, that we would get statistics at the end of the second year. I asked for a copy of the contract, which I received under Public Records Act. In the contract, Action Ambulance is supposed to send quarterly and then an annual summary of the term is used, cash collectible receipts. Bob, have you been receiving those
We
quarterly?
get them, actually, we get an update every month. And then we do get a compendium every 3 months.
Okay,
And the ambulance advisory committee is supposed to meet quarterly. We've had 3 months now at the end of September, and so our quarterly meeting will be in October. And apparently we will have the information regarding any rebate. So
yeah, at the last meeting, you said there was a potential rebate coming in.
that's I said there's a rebate. That's what the president of the company said.
Oh,
He
okay.
didn't use the word substantial, and
No, I
don't
didn't say
have any idea
substantial.
what the
I said
number is.
potential.
What?
I said potential, not
Oh,
substantial.
potential. I
Yeah.
said substantial. No, it's not potential. He said there will be a rebate,
Okay,
but we don't have any idea what the amount would be.
but shouldn't you have an idea based on having received the reports for the whole year? The only thing that's in question is that there's a
Right.
3-month
Yeah.
lag in collections.
Yeah.
So you should have the fiscal year 2023, the previous fiscal year, you should have that up,
Be fiscal
Until-
year 2022,
yes, up until the end of
Right.
June.
June.
And then the only thing in question is that July, August,
Yeah.
September, waiting for any receivables that come in.
Right.
Trailing in.
Correct.
So we should have a pretty good indication of what that is right now.
We will, yes. We will.
Okay, and we'll have that report, I'm assuming right after the 1st of October.
We will have, well, he's going to send a report, I guess, as soon as possible. And that'll be presented to the committee, the ambulance advisory committee.
The monthly ones, Bob, are they saved anywhere? Because we were just looking.
I
at
have them
OneDrive. They're not-
completely saved on the web, on the OneDrive.
They're not on the OneDrive.
They go back. Yeah, they are.
Where are they?
They go back to the beginning of the contract.
Okay, if you could show us later, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I have one other question, if I may. I had asked for records and I haven't received them yet, but it's within the deadline. I'm not saying I should have them in hand. But I had asked for records of when there were situations that action was unavailable, either because it was doing service for Hamden or service for, another one. And we had to, not we, but the police had to dispatch a non-action ambulance.
Okay. What typically happens when you ask for a public record under the public record law, it goes to the town clerk and then I receive it. I have to say, I haven't received any request of that nature.
Okay,
Okay,
right. And I received a response from Anthony that he had the records from the start of the merged dispatch. But prior to that, he doesn't have any of those records.
Okay, so your question, Jim, going forward is,
I'm just curious, the number of times that we have to dispatch, not we, but the police department has to dispatch a non-action ambulance. And, we have, and I had asked this question at the last meeting, we have an ambulance, BLS, I know that, not ALS, with the fire department that's been unused. And are we missing an opportunity if action can't do the dispatch? We want action to be able to do it when they can, but if they can't, are we missing opportunities for cash into the town?
a good question.
This going to mutual aid with
Right.
East Long Meadow or something like that?
Good question. I think once we get these updated reports, we'll have a better handle on that. We can share those with you as well.
Okay.
Maybe.
I had a document here within the last 3 months of how many times we relied on mutual aid. I can't find it at the moment.
That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Stick around. There may be a committee. We're looking for a space. Any more questions for action on the board?
Good.
Okay, Jim and Chris, thank you much and look forward to continue a good, healthy relationship.
Our pleasure, folks. Thanks
Thanks.
for having us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Right.
Next on the agenda, appoint a senior center building committee. I think, Don, we've been talking about this for 7 or 8 years now. I think we weren't seniors when we started talking about it. Now we are.
In the packet, I have added some additional names.
Thank you, Jim. These are
Oh, yeah,
Those
yeah.
are long,
Okay, all right.
Just go to the back one, in case they need some changes. What section?
We got 8 people. Right here. The back of the agenda,
Oh,
in the packet.
And I've included the email from each of those individuals requesting appointment.
interesting. Okay. So I think we had talked about, I mean, why are we doing this? And Don, I think this started with you and I, before Craig came on. We have an opportunity for better service to, if you will, a demographic in town. Becky mentioned before, I think several years ago, that the over 60 population is now larger than the under 20. We see a growth of in that demographic and a very engaged part of the community as well. They want programs. We have an awesome facility, but there've been times when we can't provide everything we want to provide or everything they want to provide because of limited space. So we need to look at that. How do we address it? Becky's gone out and gotten you're on, right, Becky? On.
Yes,
Becky went out and got a proposal, not a proposal, but a conceptual thing, if you will, from who?
we did a full feasibility study with EDM,
Mhm.
an architectural company who has done other senior center building designs in the area. But it did go out to bid through Pioneer Valley Planning Commission.
Mhm. So it gave us a sense of what we're looking for, if you will, not down to the dollar, but a range. And now we need to know, do we move it forward? Donna, you and I have talked about, we've got some of these projects we need to, if you will, fish or cut bait here,
Yeah.
and this is one of them. So
How
I
many-
think we've agreed there's a need.
There's a need.
So I think we need to.
Are we gonna give them a mission statement or a timeline or a?
I think that's the next thing to do. I mean, when you appoint these, ask them to a meeting, sit down with them. Becky's made the point that, it's her job. It might be difficult for her to be, so to speak, the person in charge. Obviously, part of the group, but she can't be the, I won't say she has a vested interest, but she's got a vested interest. If you will. So I wouldn't say it out loud, though.
Goodness.
So, if the board is good with this, we would send out, what's the night we have nothing going on? Special town meeting night or, bring them all in that night? And then develop that mission statement and say, look, this is what you're here for. This is why you signed up for the journey. We don't expect it to be a long journey. We don't expect it to be a hugely intensive journey. But we need to move the ball forward.
Becky, how long do you think this would take?
So, I see this process as taking a look at the feasibility study that was provided by the architecture firm, maybe meet with the architect a couple of times. They have offered to meet and answer any questions. I would think that some sort of plan could be set in a 3 to 6 month time period if it was an aggressive group that really wanted to hunker down and really take a look at it.
What do you think the makeup of the committee should be? Do you want like selectmen on it or town people, town, government people, or you want to do it just all citizens or a mixture or? What do you think works best?
Well, so it would be great to have people who have some sort of interest in the senior center and not just someone that's appointed because they had to be. or that they were forced on the committee because someone told them that they should or something. I mean, it would be great, you know, I mean, I know that there are people who weren't happy with the feasibility study, and that's fine. That's what this is all about, taking a look at it and seeing how we make it work for the seniors and for the town. So I think a makeup, it should be a varied group, I think. I think there should be people who utilize the senior center and who know what the needs are there. But I also think it should be people who may have building experience. They may not know the senior center very well, but they have an idea about buildings and architecture and how designs can work in the best interest of what our needs are. So I see it kind of as a cross section of the town. But, you know, and we at the senior center, I mean, we assist anyone in town because we're the only social service agency there. So we have helped people who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s and families with young children with our food pantry. So it could really be anyone serving on the committee, but, you know, certainly someone who.
I'd hope for you,
You've probably been on a million committees. What do you think's a workable size?
I would say between 7 and 9, probably. I mean, you get too many people and then it's just kind of chaotic, but
Yeah.
you know, I would say 7, 8, 9 is okay.
in regard to the time frame, I go back to the police station building committee, you know, how long that whole thing took. But they were starting from scratch, from the ground up. Here we got a bit of an advantage because we know we think we know, we're expanding the current building. So we're not acquiring land, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
I
we,
think-
we know what specific needs are there.
And we have the specific limitations,
Yeah.
if you will, because you look at what that group did, they kind of used what was available.
Yeah.
I mean, the committee may say, as some members have said, it's too big, let's bring it back a bit, and that's part of their consideration. But to be honest, it's really at the workable max for the, you know, for usage right now. So I would think, like Becky said, if they're aggressive without going wicked overboard, they could be done in the 6-month time frame for phase 2, if you will, which is pretty much maybe getting an RFQ together, maybe going out and the following town meeting is really bonding the darn thing. I mean, this is not a 10-year project, you know, getting at the town meeting at all. Because we have an opportunity, but we're also limited in the choices we can make for it. Nobody is talking about going out, oh, we're gonna get another piece of land and building another senior center. That's not happening. We're working what we have and making it better and more inclusive. Well, Becky, correct or no? Okay.
Yes.
So we have a list of names, some that came to Becky and some, as Becky said, you know, maybe somebody mentioned too, we have a couple of candidates who were actually part of the police station building committee. And I think their expertise, and you have to look at what we have for that. And I think it turned out pretty well for the town of Hamden. We also have a citizen in town who's come up to me several times and said he wants to be more involved. You know, once he's done putting the museum together downtown, you know, I think there's an opportunity for something here. Lyman.
have
So
8.
in
We have 8.
8 total?
So we, yeah. so
Right in
we
that
should either do
ballpark, she
7
said,
or
huh?
9.
Yeah, right. And maybe we appoint one of the selectmen to be the 9th member. How do you see this as an appointed committee? So minutes and the whole thing?
Yeah,
I
I think
agree
you
with
have
that.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I think you have to. But I do have to say, if we have 8 people who are interested, if anyone saw the editorial in the Republican today about what difficulty all the cities and towns are having
Volunteers.
finding people, volunteers, I think it's a good sign.
It is a good sign.
Jump on the 8 while they're still ready.
Yeah,
Exactly
it's a
right.
bit-
They get the hats, the badges.
You're in.
We're even making team shirts for everybody, I'm told as well, so. So the names we have. Mike Fedora, brand new name. I don't think I've ever met Mike.
He's got good experience there too.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
Yeah,
Fontaine,
looking
like,
at
I
it.
must work with Marfini,
Yeah.
et cetera. Well, yeah, good.
Mike is very
Um,
involved with us as well.
Is he? Good. Okay, Mike Fedora, Rita Vale, Wayne Mosher. Fortunately, it's a committee more than 3 people. Otherwise, we'd have an open meeting problem there.
mhm.
Yeah. They're talking to each other.
If they're talking to each other.
Stop that.
Can't assume that.
Yeah, so that's right. Bobby Grant, Bobby's been a long-term member. And we also have a couple of these people around the Friends as well, correct, Becky?
Yes, Rita and Bobby.
Right. So that gives them a bit of a voice in there as
Yeah.
well, which is good. Cliff Bombard, Don Collins, Gary Weiner, Lyman Wood. Do you know Lyman?
I know.
Okay. Okay. So therefore, that represents kind of the people who have good building and management experience as well. And then Cliff, is good to have Cliff there, you know, for getting the numbers back and forth. And Cliff right now is a member of the COA board as well. So that gives them a voice, or at least not a voice per se, but a window into it. if you will. So,
I also,
then if you,
oh, sorry, did you have one more?
well, I wanted to say, if we wanted to make you the ninth member, appoint a member of the board as the ninth member, I would be, well, I'm the board rep anyhow. Or just like leave it open and see, who knows, maybe after we appoint this, somebody has a burning desire to come forward.
John,
You keep the board member and Becky, so to speak, as ex officio anyhow.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they wouldn't count towards the number.
Carol Keeney had also
That's
expressed
right.
an interest.
Yeah, that's, you told me that.
And she
Okay.
was
on
on,
this list.
she actually was on the building committee when the senior center was built back in 1999. So I don't know if he's on your list.
You mentioned that. Bob, did you?
I haven't received any
But she expressed,
message from Carol Keeney.
but she expressed it to you, Becky, right?
She did express an interest, yes. And yes, she did.
And she was a former selectman. So was she at your time, Jim, or before you? Carol Keeney.
Before.
Our time he was there, yeah, so. Good insight into town workings is. And then Jim, you expressed an interest as well? I'll teach you to show up. So back, if we want to include Carol, but I would suggest we go back and really verify her interest.
Okay.
But I'd like to submit to the board these 8 names as mentioned.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Becky, order the shirts.
I'm on it.
Becky's crew now.
Becky's, is that the name of the shirt?
Becky's crew, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
you.
Becky.
Fiber optic committee.
Next, we have another committee. Fiber optic, Craig.
Yes.
Handle it.
Well, Dave, you want to come up? Sure. Just push the button when you sit down.
Push the button there.
You see if he knows how to push the button. That'll.
That-
speak
This
to
is the
his-
test.
That's exactly right.
He's already on the right one. So Dave Hayward here is interested in joining fiber optic committee. We've had a couple people who kind of fizzled out from the committee, so we could use some further help going forward, especially with processing the grants and poll applications and stuff. So Dave's got some interest and I figure he's got some background.
You got good background, he's
Yeah.
warm, breathing, lives in town, he's the perfect guy. And he's been, Dave and I have been talking for a number of years about, he really has a burning desire to participate in something. Heck, Charo was original member of the sidewalk committee back in the day. She's about 5 feet into it and moving on to the next piece of sidewalk.
Yeah.
So I would appreciate a motion to appoint Dave for fiber optic committee.
Move that we appoint Dave Hayward to the fiber optic committee. Actually,
Second.
wait,
Is
wait,
there a
wait, wait,
term?
wait, there is no appointment. It's put together by Bob. So we don't need to appoint.
Well, how do we put the other people on?
Bob
before?
picked they went to Bob and Bob assigned all roles.
I would I would
Oh,
appreciate
yeah.
a motion to recommend to the town administrator to put Dave on the committee.
Yeah. That way we're not.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Recommendation,
Yeah.
Bob?
I'll second that.
Second, second.
Thank you. Ha, that'll learn you.
All
Show
set.
up next
Where,
time.
while we're on there, where are we with the counting the telephone poles?
And on the fingers?
I have signed the agreements and sent them off to Verizon
Mhm.
and National Grid. What Craig had
In
earlier
our
is the
billboard.
first response we've gotten. And I don't think any work is quite underway, but we're all set for it to start.
Okay.
So
And I do believe we have a meeting on Wednesday you posted.
we do. We do. I
Right.
mentioned to Dave that he gets appointed on Monday night and we meet on Wednesday,
Right. Hope we
5
can make-
o'clock.
I'll see you Wednesday night.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dave. Thank you, guys.
David.
All right, looks good. Thank you, Bob. Hey, Bob, we talked in the past. Could we, these reports, I wanted to put them on the web. And I said, can we be PDFing these and they should be in your section? Heck, I'm not even sure your name is in your section on the website.
For which?
Is it? These are pictures.
Yeah.
too.
I
So
I
we'd
can
like-
do that.
Okay. I like to see the reports covered there, just like we cover our minutes. on
Yeah,
ours.
we can put them on the website.
Okay.
Sometimes I put in information that might be a little sensitive.
You do what you're gonna do.
Yeah, all right.
You've been around.
Yeah.
We do have everybody here for the executive session, so unless we have a burning desire for a selectman report.
We have
have a
a
burning desire?
Well, I just have these 14 pages I'd like to go over.
In the original Sanskrit, and everything, thank you, Don.
No, the only report I have is that the Conservation Commission met for the delineation of 530.
I watched that and I have to say they did a great job.
Yeah, she's very, very good.
audio was good.
Audio was good. Again, they're trying to use the Zoom with integrating presentations from the applicants. And I think as that gets
Yeah,
better.
but-
I think there's a permit we gotta vote on.
My copy of the phone, yours, I guess.
Although there's one last thing here on Bob's report.
Trench
No,
or the.
the shared conservation agent.
Mhm. You got some-
I had that news as of this afternoon.
Can you put your hope
Uh,
in for another solution? You all right?
I'm disappointed. With three towns were working together. Munson had a part-time conservation agent who found a way to expand to a full-time person. And Munson has dropped out. We talked about, and then the town manager in Long Meadow and I talked about continuing our discussion to see if we can come up with something. Long Meadow was interested in combining the conservation agent with a tree warden. Their problem apparently has developed significantly, and they don't have a tree warden. And Lynn wants to do more there and get the work done. I said that our interest is in having someone who can give us advice on stormwater. And I would note that I mentioned to the board earlier that Palmer, I believe, is advertising for a conservation agent and a stormwater manager. They're not interested in that. They said that their DPW director does the stormwater work. And so we don't know if we have any way to put it together at this point. She's going to go back and talk to the committee that she's working with. And I said, well, we'll do the same, talk to the selectmen. We have another meeting scheduled for a couple of weeks. But right now, I think we are at a disappointing part to this. And we still need, I talked with the chair of the commission today. She told me she spends 20 to 30 hours a week. And on top of that, the assistant that we have in the office spends a good deal of time every week. So there's a large amount of work that's required by the Conservation Commission, particularly now with, I guess, they've had a couple solar projects adjacent to wetlands and so forth. This is a wet town. And so a lot of developments end up at the Conservation Commission.
Of turtles.
A lot of turtles. So
So something you're gonna keep
that's right.
exploring.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to continue talking to see if we can work something out. I've also been given the name of a conservation agent in two other towns. I checked on one this afternoon, not going to happen. And I have one more call to make to see if there's any interest in adding some hours for the town. The difficulty with making a deal with Long Meadow is that I don't think our Conservation Commission would need half of the time of a full-time person. I think that would be more than would be required. And so Long Meadow is not interested in having someone more than half-time. So that's where we ended up.
A couple other things before the board. We did received the resignation of Rick Green resigning as the Veteran Service representative from Hamden, effective November 1st. We will be looking for somebody else to provide that service to the town. He also is resigning as the alternate to the planning board. And we would hope that you would post that looking for someone for that, and that's typically a joint appointment. I also have a quote for a bathroom repair. Okay,
But there are some minor repairs that need to be done, and then have gotten a quote.
okay, we have a quote here for approximately $2,500 to fix the bathroom and the sump pump so that people can use the bathroom. How does the board feel about that? Taking out of townhouse maintenance.
Townhouse maintenance. That fits the bill.
I know you feel everyone should use it at home and then come to work.
Told you to go before you left the house.
Spoken like a true parent, thank you. But other than that, the board is fine with telling
Yes,
Jane to proceed. Thank you. All right.
And I think we should hold off on this permit. I've never heard anything about it. And I don't know if Finn's inspected it yet either.
Yeah.
He has.
Well, what are they doing? I'm familiar with the kitchen at St. Mary's. What,
Well, this is to allow them to, you know,
I think they have.
They're min-
They've had dinners there before. George Stone used to,
Are they looking to hold dinners there or meals, or is it just after service? You know,
I mean, I like the recommendation of Pam and Pim, but it's a little
They
ambiguous.
used to have. I
We know it's only for the next 3 months, but,
if it's the same thing, I mean, Federated Church has the same thing. We sign that every year.
yeah, well, they have a much more complete kitchen down there.
well,
It's,
they've gone through.
So if Finn signed off on it, then,
based on Finn signed
It's
up.
under the
correct?
recommendation.
So, Okay.
you know, based on requirements, I mean, if they meet the requirements of the Board of Health, and
Would you like a motion?
Approval.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, 3. I said 2,500 for the 3 quotes.
Oh.
Yeah, right, yeah.
They're all totals 2,500?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, is there any other business to come before the board in open session?
We've gone over several of the items already, including the resignation of Rick Green from 2 boards. The mirror for Southwood Lane and Stony Hill Road has been installed. I've spent a good deal of my time this week just finishing up the special town meeting warrant, which the final version you have in your packet. The application for the grant, the planning grant, went into the Commission on Disabilities, and it's a fairly complicated thing, but we'll have the application ready. Spent some time on police matters, meeting with Selectman Davenport on that. And I'm pleased to say that the last I don't want to use the word tranche because that was questioned earlier.
Allocation.
What? Allocation of ARPA funds is on its way.
The last satchel of money.
That's right. The last
Yeah.
amount. Yeah,
Um,
the last bag of money is coming from the treasury for ARPA.
Silver, Morgan Silver dollars, thank you. The board will also be signing the warrant that we closed last week. For posting shortly.
So, and tomorrow they will be distributed to the department heads as well as certainly Mr. Green and the town clerk and the advisory committee. And I'm going to send copies to the department heads as well.
Right, so the board has formally closed the warrant. The articles are as they are. What we will be discussing in the near future will be motions. And at that point, that's when we get into the money amounts at the motion
Right.
level. Right, in a consultation with the financial team, the advisory, et cetera. So if there's no
Also,
more,
the warrant has been approved, reviewed and approved by town council.
okay, if there's no other business to come before the board in open session, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session without a return to open session.
I move we adjourn to executive session without returning to open session for the purposes of discussing litigation. As an open meeting will, has been determined by the chair, will be detrimental to the effect of the litigation position of the public body. As the chair so declared, and this is regarding the storage facilities at 16 Summers Road.
Second,
All those in favor by name,
Donald Davenport.
John Flynn.
Craig Rivers.
Come on up and let's test out the new